So chat. Apparently, someone has something to say about Popovich. This is from San Antonio Express News. It says, with Wemby and De'Aaron Fox both out, the Spurs offseason is already looking complex, but perhaps the biggest question of all, what's next for Gregg Popovich? Uncertainty still looms over when or if he'll return to the sideline. So who it is that is going over this is the Associated Press. But let's go ahead and listen to this. I have not heard any of this. Just someone tagged me in this to say, "Hey, Clank, you need to check this out." So let's go ahead and take a look. So this is from Eric Gay. This is what he has to say. Make sure everything turned. Oh, it wouldn't have been turned on. You guys wouldn't have heard a thing. Matter of fact, chat. I had it on my earphones. All right, I had it on my Echo. I wouldn't even heard it myself. All right, let's listen.
Since he last coached the game, since he suffered a mild stroke, almost 6 months since he last coached the game, since he suffered a mild stroke. He wants to coach next year. The Spurs want to give him that opportunity. He comes back next year. That's great. That's one outcome.
Maybe no, that's not Eric Gay talking. I don't know who that is talking because these are just photos. I was just reading here, so I don't know.
Want to be happy with. The other option is, like, Gregg Popovich decides this offseason that he just can't do it. And that he retired. He officially announces his retirement. And I'm just being honest here. I'm not trying to create controversy, anything like that. That's an awkward situation for everyone, because until the Spurs know how the Pop thing works out, they can't go out and try to hire elite level head coaches of the Taylor Jenkins level. Name your other candidate this offseason. Just because you can't replace Pop before Pop leaves. There's just no way to find a backup plan until Gregg Popovich retires.
Okay, so yeah, it's definitely I'll just let it play. It's definitely a tough situation to put yourself in, or you have yourself in. So if I was a betting person, I would say Popovich doesn't return, right? Like, everyone was talking about, hey, he can come back this season. I didn't think that it would happen. And then it didn't happen, right? And I'm just going to go as far as to say, I don't know if I see Popovich back next season either. Do I want him back? Sure. But his health is the most important thing to me. But I'm not Popovich. He has control over, himself. It's his autonomy there. He can make that decision. Now, what I do believe, I just have a hard time believing that Popovich just has like everybody on hold, and he's not necessarily like communicating with the front office, and they don't know what's going on, right? I'm pretty sure there's some type of discussion. What we're getting isn't the same thing, I think, that the front office is necessarily getting. It is a tough situation, but at the same time, what I think I'll just be real with you. I think the best case scenario of all of this is Popovich comes back for a year, and then announces his retirement after the upcoming season, and you go ahead and sign a coach as an assistant, for next season. But will someone be willing to do that? Like, would a Taylor Jenkins be willing to go back to an associate coaching role for the Spurs? He's been associated with the Spurs before, but go backwards, just with hopes that, oh yeah, I'm going to be the next head coach. Maybe the culture is so great and people love being around San Antonio that much that he'll be willing to do that and be patient in that regard. I mean, he's a young guy, but I don't know. So it's definitely a tough situation. I just don't want to make the assumption that, oh my God, Popovich just got us all waiting and we're just waiting for his decision. I just have a feeling. I could be completely off on this, okay? This is just fifis, all right? This has no facts at all when it comes to this. This is just fifis. I just have the feeling and just making the inference based on behavior that we've seen from Popovich in the front office before, and them being online with each other all the time and constantly in communication, that Popovich isn't talking with them, or they're not aware of what's going on, and they're not thinking about other options, and they haven't discussed other options, right? It's just hard for me to believe that everything's just so awkward and they're just like, I don't know what we're gonna do. We're just waiting for Popovich. Pretty sure they're all thinking of, like, the next steps, talking to Pop, what can we do, all that good stuff. So me personally, that's what I'm gonna think. Maybe it's hopeful thinking, but on the other end of it, if I do devil's advocate, if that is the case and they know nothing and they know just as much as we do, and everyone's just waiting for Popovich decision, it's one of those weird situations where it's unfortunate, and as a fan it's a little irritating, but it's unfortunate. But at the same time, Popovich is the Spurs. It's like at that point it's just fully up to him, and I got my hands off. Okay, I guess another reason too why I'm just not like too hung up on it is there's so much growth that players have to make with the Spurs individually right now, till I can't even like think about what pieces fit here in the next head coach and all that good stuff. Like, I feel like we got to have some development from Wemby. We have to have some development from team as a whole and gaining that chemistry. I feel like we need to fill up the small forward position, the backup center position. And while Popovich has been involved in that situation, like getting the right players and whatnot, he has said even himself that there is a separation there. Like, he lets the front office do, this is why they operate so well. He let the front office do their thing. They ask him, hey, Pop, you cool with it? 99% of the time, Pop's like, yeah, that's cool, whatever. He trusts the franchise. He's like, good guys, you know what you're doing. Get the players. And then he coaches whatever players are in front of him. That's usually how that goes. So that's why I'm just not really worried about it. We have some really pressing matters players-wise. And in today's NBA, that's the most important thing, in my opinion. Like, coaching is still super important. Don't get me wrong. Like, coaching is still super important. But I would say coaching is more important in other sports nowadays, maybe like the NFL or something like that. In the NBA, you can manage to have a really great team and even win a championship, and your coach be slightly above average, right? So it's not just something I'm really that concerned about. But now when we're talking about our dynasty and we're ready to really kick it up a notch, right? Like after next season, and I'm like, all right, the Spurs are rolling, we're taking some deep playoff runs. Then yeah, if you want a dynasty, you need a really good coach, right? An average coach can't just give you a dynasty. You got to be a great coach, even when you have a lot of talent. So that's my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on it. I know it kind of sound like I'm just on the fence, which honestly I kind of am, right? Like I think it would be foolish of me, or kind of messed up in a way, if I'm just like, screw Pop, you need to make the decision right now. You're holding everything back. It's basketball. I know how tough a situation this is. I'm sure that he's hopeful he'll be back. If he comes back, or when he comes back, Popovich is one of the best coaches in the NBA every single year, right? So, we'll be getting a great coach regardless, and hopefully things, set up nicely. But things have been really playing out in our favor. The basketball gods love the Spurs. So I'm not that worried about it. I feel like we'll be okay at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's all I got to say about it. Did you hear someone was talking crazy about Pop in San Antonio? Okay, maybe that's another segment. But just want to know your guys' thoughts on it. How do you feel about the Popovich situation? Are you nervous or not so much? Just let me know. And the segment will be up at some point. It'll be up at some point.